This little guy symbolizes one big economic weakness of the European Union. With 27 member states, the EU is one of the largest economies in the world. But over the past decades, its share of global GDP has shrunk in comparison to that of the US and China. And this is one thing that's holding back the EU's economy. Well, not the meerkat, but the label. It lists the product materials in 22 languages in accordance with EU textile regulation and has a recycling logo printed on it specifically for France. This long label demonstrates that even though the EU is supposed to work like one coherent economy, it doesn't.
The European Union is or can be the world's largest consumer market when all of its countries are joined up together. When there are things that make it smaller, we call that fragmentation. So for example, if you have language labeling requirements, you're not able to sell something equally in all the countries, but only the countries where you've labeled it in the proper languages.
According to the IMF, these so-called invisible barriers to trade within the EU hurt its economy as much as a 44% tariff, because they make it more expensive and time-consuming for companies to expand to other European markets, especially for startups.
We believed, well, we are in the EU, and whatever works in Spain might work as well in Germany or in France or in, other European countries. But this is not the case.
Amaya Rodriguez co-founded Gravity Wave, a Spanish startup that collects plastic trash from the ocean and turns it into building panels. But different fire and safety regulations for products in different EU countries have made business hard.
So it's a lot of researching, putting people and resources and money to open a market that you would say, okay, we are neighbors, right? It must be easier than going to Japan or to China, but still is a new market.
The EU is trying to reduce these so-called invisible barriers, for example, by creating a common recycling label, which will go into force in 2028. But ditching the paperwork isn't a decision the EU can make on its own.
The catch is, for these to move forward, three things have to happen. First, it has to be agreed at the European Union level. Then it has to be adapted into country-level law. And then the countries have to be willing to enforce it in some way or apply it in some way.